Yo, Todd here, Center Valley Customs. Welcome back if you're back. Welcome if you're not. On this episode, we're bringing back my wife's pink Geo Tracker, Chevy Tracker, Suzuki Samurai, whatever it is. I actually recently just went and got this thing titled and got collector plates for it. Literally, highway robbery. $411. Absolutely outrageous. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is a 98 something. I paid $700 for it. It used to be white. It had no floor pans in it. The rockers were rotted out. I replaced those, completely gutted the interior, put bed liner down inside the interior, put aftermarket seats in it, put a K04 Turbo that comes on like a Jetta or Passat or Audi, whatever. Installed that on here, and that's what you get. Now, for those of you that follow the channel, for the most part, it's pretty much the same way it was. However, I have went and done a few things, which I'll show you in a minute. But over Memorial Weekend, on Memorial Day actually, we went to a cookout. Now, per the state of Wisconsin, I was not allowed to be behind the wheel of any sort of motor vehicle. So my wife had to drive. Now, because she had to drive, I was also not allowed to choose the mode of transportation, which is respectable. But we took this. Drove it there, went fine. On the way back, we got just up the road, and it got pretty loud, and we had no boost. So that is what we're going to try to figure out in this video. Well, I already know what's wrong, but we're going to dig into that and fix that. Before we do that, I'll walk you around real quick, show you what I have done, and we'll go from there. What's up, bud? What's up, buddy? What's your matter? Few things I've done with this. Just went through, made sure all the lights work. I installed the side marker lights. Replaced the halogen bulbs with LED bulbs. I like that better. The housings are still the same. Installed a pink shift knob. Actually, my wife bought that. I almost shouldn't take credit for it. The biggest thing was installing interior panels. So this is just 20 gauge steel. I literally just took the original ones, traced them out, cut them out. This one I actually did have to extend because that seat belt thing would be here. These are just held on with some of those plastic interior clips. I only got a few in each panel because I don't have enough of this style. I want to make sure that they're all the same. But I think that looks really nice. It kind of finishes it out. Door panels, same thing, 20 gauge sheet metal. More or less just trace the old panel. I cannot find these armrests. I would like these in black. That, whatever this is called, pocket, was the same color. I literally just rattle canned this, so I don't know how long that's going to last. But the door handles are new. The window roller upper things are new. This paint is literally the bed liner out of a spray can. I wanted a wrinkle finish. I didn't want just a flat black or a gloss black. I wanted a little bit of texture, and this worked out perfect. I was worried it was going to be really gritty and like scratch your arm if you had your arm on the armrest, but it's actually perfect. It actually turned out really, really nice. I would like to get black armrests. That's kind of the last thing in here. It does currently have the top on it. Reason being as it sat in my pole shed, and I was just trying to keep the wildlife out of it more or less and keeping the bird crap out of the interior. I would like to try to figure out a way to easily secure this. The previous owner ran a bunch of leg bolts or something through it, and the way it's supposed to be secured is junk. So I do have an idea, but I don't know if it's going to work. I'll probably end up doing that on my own time. Who knows? Maybe we'll make a video about it. I don't know. But let's dig in under here. Here's that K04 Turbo I installed using a Honda Civic header, making myself a new header flange and then cutting off the T3 flange to fit a KO4. Nice downpipe that's neatly wrapped. However, I had one little flaw with this. I'm not positive, but I don't think your turbo should do this. Yeah. I think I'm going to start by just getting this all yanked out of here. Pull the charge pipe, pull the downpipe, oil feed, oil drain. Then the turbo will come off because it ain't hooked to anything anymore. Pull the header off, get it all on the table, get a closer look at it. Then we will figure out what we are going to do to fix this issue. Got the turbo and the header out. Now, like I said, this header used to have a T3 flange on it. I just lopped that off, capped it, stabbed a hole in it, and then adapted this KO4 with a piece of exhaust tubing to that. Now, this actually does look like two different pieces of exhaust tubing that I just Zeused together. That's why that's so straight. But I believe it actually broke here first, which would be on the back side. Why that happened? Your engine mounts are typically rubber, so your engine can flex a little bit. It's not a rigid mount, otherwise you'd feel all the vibrations through the whole car. My exhaust is rubber mounted, however it doesn't twist. It'll move side to side, but it won't twist. So essentially, I believe when the engine twists, my exhaust doesn't, and it puts a lot of stress between the turbo and the exhaust manifold, or engine more or less. So you're essentially just adding a whole nother engine mount. I think that is probably what did this. Now we could easily fix this by just putting a flexi thing in my exhaust and then cutting these pipes off, cleaning them up, and sticking another one in there. Or I have been thinking about this a little bit, and maybe we could do this. Yeah, just go bigger, because that'll fix it. Right? Yeah, not really. I was thinking about this, and I never did like how this turbo mounted to that manifold, header, whatever you want to call it. And this, look at that exhaust port. That's like 1.5 inches, something like that. That's got to be killing power. It has to be killing power. So I figured this already comes with a T3 flange on it. Why don't we just get a T3 turbo? Simple. However, that does throw in some other stuff because this turbo doesn't have an internal wastegate. What is going on over there? Sorry, neighbor something sounded like it was dying over there. This turbo does not have an internal wastegate. I could have gotten a T3 flange turbo with an internal wastegate. However, what I found with this one is because of this linkage and because there's only 4 mounting bolts that hold this compressor thing, I could only clock this in one of 4 directions. So this never really aimed where I wanted it to. It went right into the strut tower. So I wanted to avoid that. That's why I went with this. I know nothing about turbos, so I have no idea what this compares to this. The only thing I read on this is it was made for a 1.5 to 2.5 liter engine. We have a 1.6. We're in the area there. Probably a little big for it, to be honest. Physically, it looks way bigger than this. I don't even know if it's going to fit in there. Now, I learned 2 things. Finding a 4-bolt external wastegate, impossible. They're either a 2-bolt or a V-band. So we ended up going with a V-band. Second thing I learned is these wastegates are expensive. This is a super cheap Amazon 44 millimeter V-band wastegate, right? I think this was like 80 to 90 bucks. A nice name brand wastegate, you're looking at 350, 400. Insane. We got quite a bit of work. This looks easy. tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on cutting this flange off that I made. Cut this flange off that comes with this. Put that flange on here. Luckily, the Honda Civic primary spacing is like dead nuts to whatever that 1.6 liter tracker engine is. So, I'm out of breath. That's pretty much what I'm going to do tonight. Try to get a flange on that. And then there was something else I had to cut off. Good morning. Late last night, I did get my flanges cut off my headers. I got the flange I made welded onto my new header, and I could not help myself. I had to do a little mock-up to see how it was going to look. Here she is. That looks way cooler than that rinky-dink KO4 turbo. However, this does sit, I think, a little further out, and it's actually twisted this way a little bit. So my exhaust does not line up at all. That will all have to be redone. Also, that blow-off valve does not fit in here. So we're going to have to shorten this all up. So I think that's what we're going to start with today. I'm going to get this all yanked out of here. I have a little piece of tubing. I'm going to cut the end off of this. Probably try to weld it right to the manifold. And hopefully that'll work. Alright, I got this old wastegate flange cut off of the header. I found this, I think it's 1.5 inch exhaust pipe, but this was swaged out to slip fit over another piece. But anyway, I got a little piece cut. I coped it a little bit so that it would fit on the header. I'm now going to weld this onto the V-band flange, like so. I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to weld this whole shebang onto there. I have already kind of held this up and test fit it. Fits just fine. Got probably a finger width, if not an inch, of clearance to the strut tower now, so that will be good. The exhaust side of this, or output feed side, I'm not really sure what we're going to do yet. Either just have a screamer pipe or somehow weld another piece of exhaust pipe, which probably the same piece might work, into the down pipe. But before we get to that, we'll worry about this first. So I'm going to get this all welded up, get it on, test fit it, make sure it's going to work for what we need. And then we have to move on to the downpipe side. Got my V-band welded on my header. Should be plenty of room now for this. So that's all good. We can now start working on this exhaust. As you can see, I already removed this exhaust, removed the flange and the fiberglass wrap. That fiberglass wrap is some nasty, nasty, nasty stuff. After pulling it off the exhaust, there was still fiberglass all over the pipe. I got fiberglass in my hands, my toes, my legs, in my shirt, everywhere. I hate using that stuff. Unfortunately, that pipe is just so close to everything. I had to wrap it with something. Don't use that stuff if you don't have to. It looks cool, but honestly, I think it holds moisture and just rots pipes out. I don't like using it. Let's see what we got to work with. I already put this flange on here. This hardware this header came with is just junk. Okay, there's that. Yeah, that's going to be tight. I think I'm going to take some time and just think about what I'm going to do here. This is going to be a lot of in and out, in and out, in and out, and figuring. Yo, good morning. In standard fashion, it has been, well, exactly a week since I worked on this last. I believe the last time I recorded and left y'all off, I was trying to figure out the downpipe situation here. The old turbo sat like here, and the new turbo sits over here. Where the downpipe came up was about 4 inches off, and because of all this stuff, I have to like snake around. Well, I got that all figured out, and I also put on a pipe for my wastegate, and this is what I came up with. Looks pretty neat. Looks nice. Now with this flange, I wanted to run a V-band like this. However, this is about 1.5 inches deep, and I didn't want to take that out of this length here. This is made out of an old big block Chevy smashed up header that I couldn't get to fit in my truck. So that's what this is. I wanted to put this in here because this pipe is rigid, and where the wastegate mounts on here is going to be rigid. So I wanted to use this to give it a little bit of flex. That way, while I install this with the V-bands, it can pull or whatever, move a little bit. Well, I got lazy and I didn't want to put it in, and I think this looks cool. Originally, I was just going to run a screamer pipe, but honestly, this is for my wife and she's not going to like that, so into the exhaust it is. Now, I wrapped this up yesterday. I threw away the old wrap because I found new wrap. Unfortunately, I started wrapping it down here and I made it to like here. Then I started up here and I made it to like here. So then I did it again from here down to here. This stuff, I've said it already, I absolutely hate it because it is fiberglass. You get fiberglass everywhere. The only thing worse than this stuff is like literally fiberglassing a home. So the exhaust is done. That's ready to be put back in the vehicle. However, we got a couple things we need to do. We'll start with the wastegate, and then we can pretty much just start reassembling this whole thing. Missed. So this wastegate came with a handful of things. We got gaskets. Actually, these probably came with the header. I don't remember. Springs, which is what we're going to be after. Some fittings for vacuum / boost / coolant. I believe you can run coolant through this to keep it cool. We will not be doing that. And some brass fittings that look like oil line fittings. No, but they're not oil line fittings. So maybe these are for coolant. I don't know. Pretend I told you something smart and I know what they're for. So what we are going to do is, I don't remember what size spring this comes with, but we are going to want to go to the smallest spring, or the lightest spring, I should say. I believe the lightest spring it came with was 7 pounds, which is about 2 pounds more than I would like, but we're going to run her. So what we need to do to open this up is there are 6 screws on the top. We're going to pull those off. Inside here should be a diaphragm with a spring underneath it, on top of it, and replace the spring. So I'm going to get these out of here quick, and we'll see what we got. Now, depending on what's in here for a spring, you do not want to take all these screws out willy-nilly. You want to make sure you got this thing clamped. Like in my blow-off valve, I would actually put it in my vise because you don't want to ruin the threads on any of these screws where they mount in, and you don't want this thing to just explode. Honestly, I'm going to have to probably look up the ad and see what springs this actually came with. So I want to say this spring probably goes inside of another spring to give you more boost, but I'm not sure. Yikes. So there's our spring. I thought one was a 14. that was smart. How in the hell did I do that? Feel identical. So according to the ad, it comes installed with a 14 psi spring, comes with an additional 17 psi spring, and a 7 psi spring. So one could only assume that this would be 14, 17, 7. I'm just going to measure this because this feels the same. 0.113, 113 thousandths. 113 thousandths. I'm going to call BS on their ad and say these are both the exact same, unless one's a little taller. Not really. Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, we don't want these two that I know of anyway. We want this little guy. Now, like I said, inside here is a diaphragm, and that is connected to this plunger thing. Okay, so this spring pressure is what holds the diaphragm, or the, I don't know what this is called, the valve, exhaust valve, I don't know, holds this closed. Now you can plumb these with boost pressure to the bottom of the diaphragm, which is what pushes the exhaust valve thing up. You can also plumb boost pressure to the top. You can buy boost controller things that can make your boost control adjustable. Some people buy like Mac valves with CO2 pressure that's plumbed to this thing. We're not doing any of that. We are literally just going to plumb our boost to the bottom side of the diaphragm so that hopefully at 7 psi this thing opens and we don't get much more boost than 7 psi, because I don't think that's going to be able to handle it. So put that on there, put this on here. I wish I remembered which way this went so that I could, never mind, doesn't matter because we're not using that at all. We'll just put this all back together. I got this all put back together. I put my fittings in. So kind of like what I was saying is you can put pressure to the bottom of the diaphragm, which pushes the exhaust valve, because that's essentially what this is, up. And if you wanted to, for boost control, you could run pressure line to the top, which would keep this exhaust valve closed longer. I think in order to do that, you got to have all the fancy Mac valves and CO2 tanks and whatever else. I have no idea. I've never done it before. Don't know anything about it. Just make sure that this does come with plugs, and you need to plug the other holes that go underneath the diaphragm so that when you're putting boost pressure here, it doesn't just go out and you got nothing. So this is all done. Good, ready to go, ready to get installed. Moving on to the turbo, few things we need to do here. We need to put in a oil pressure line and then the oil return line, which goes on the bottom. I was just going to rob everything from the old turbo because I know that all works. Unfortunately, the drain doesn't fit, and the oil pressure line adapter thingamaroonie, the threads are different. So I actually spent like a half hour drilling these holes out because it was built or drilled for a smaller bolt. Finally got it to fit, and then realized that's the wrong side. That's the pressure side, not the return side, and this is too small. Luckily, at some point, I ordered and bought a turbo oiling kit, which is correct for what I need. So I got to put this on for the drain, this on for the pressure. Hopefully, my oil pressure line will reach to this, because now this is going to be straight up and down on the turbo, whereas before I had this and the line 90'd off of it. Whatever. So I'm going to get that all bolted up, and then what we need to do is this turbo does not have a pressure port, boost, reference, whatever you want to call it, like this one. So there's a line here that goes to the internal wastegate. I need a similar setup like this to go to my wastegate, this one down here. So we're going to have to drill and tap this. There's a spot here and there's a spot here. And I don't know which one to go to. 99.9% of the people that I've seen do this go to this one. However, this one's down here. So I don't know what's better, what's worse. I don't know if I should copy this one and go down here, or if I should do what everybody else does and go up here. That is to be determined. All right, I got my pressure line adapter and the drain adapter on here. Now, like I already said, we need to have some sort of fitting thing, hose barb, that we're going to drill in right here. I put this in ChatGPT and it said something about this, something about that, and we're going to go with that. I need to put on a hose barb. So I'm going to have to drill and tap this NPT, not just a standard tap, here. So in order to do that, we got to remove this housing because you don't want to drill and get shavings all inside the turbine, inside your turbo, blah, blah, blah. So there's a ring on the back with like 6 bolts. We'll take these all the way out, and then this housing should come right off, and then we can drill and tap it and not get shavings inside here. So I already cracked these all loose, which were ridiculously tight. Okay, so hopefully this should pull off. I wonder why there's, oh, that goes into the thing. Okay, anyway, hopefully this should pull off here. Oh, it does come off pretty nicely. That's what that looks like. So now I'm going to go with I got a pan full of these because I didn't know what size I needed. We're going to go with a 5/16 for the barb and an 1/8 inch MIP tap, or whatever this is, I think. Reason being is because this barb is close-ish to this barb. Close-ish. Quarter, 3/16, 1/8. Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. So I need to find a drill bit for an 1/8 inch MIP. And then I bought this super cheap Amazon special NPT tap to go with that. I think I got everything prepared. Apparently for an 1/8 MIP tap, drill hole size, whatever, it recommends 332 thousandths. I got 325 and 340 something. We're going to start with 325 or whatever I said this was. I'm just going to drill a little hole, hopefully centered. I don't know if it will be, but we're going to try.
You got a bird's nest in your eave?
Yeah, I know. They go in there all the time. I tried to hit one with a stick. Well, that was not the straightest hole I've ever drilled in my life, I'll tell you that much. That looks like shit. It looks terrible, not gonna lie. Okay, before you do that, you want to get yourself some sort of looby-dooby. I might just use some grease because it's right here. And hopefully it'll help hold the chips a bit. All right, now be careful with this because this is cast, so you don't want to break it. That fly's gonna get it. with this tap being tapered, I'm worried that I'm going to run it in too far and it's going to push out and just destroy this housing. So I'm trying to be as careful as I can. Cut some that time. Give her one more and see what it looks like. Actually, it's not. Ooh, I think that's perfect. Okay, we're going to call that good. It's almost all the way to the hex part of whatever you want to call it, where you put the wrench. You don't really want to go much deeper than that, because obviously once you bottom this out, you're not sealing against the threads. So I'm going to blow this all out, clean this up, put it back together, and then we can start assembling stuff on the vehicle and assemble stuff on the vehicle. It's reinstall time, so first we're going to go in with the exhaust. I'm going to have to go underneath and get that into the pipe. Okay, we'll go in with this header now. I did not buy a new exhaust gasket, manifold gasket, but should be okay. Hit this bad boy. Ouch. Okay, just got to put a bunch of nuts and washers on, tighten this all up. Got the header in. I'm going to put the wastegate in so I don't have to fight with the turbo above it. Make sure that if your wastegate comes with a seat, you install this before putting the wastegate on. A lot of people will install wastegates and whine and complain that they're not making boost because they forgot the seat. This is essentially works just like a head on a vehicle or your valve. The valve has a seat. This essentially is like an exhaust valve that has a seat. Don't forget it. So I'm just going to put this on loosely. I did have to remove the fitting I had on the top because it wouldn't fit in there. So we'll just run that wide open. But once I get the turbo on, I'll mount this all up tight. Turbo time. All right. Now this is kind of another. So you gotta kind of slide this in here first-ish, and then try to get that on there-ish.
Gotta go back a little bit.
It's binding up somewhere. Probably on this exhaust flange. There, something like that. Okay, I think I'm gonna bolt the turbo down, or should I mount? Oh, son of a biznitch. I'm gonna put a gasket back here, or down there. That was just a practice fit.
It fits. We can make it fit.
Okay, let me grab the gaskets. I just hope this all bolts up decent. This seems... Oh, you think that's going to make that much of a difference? My pipe isn't really lining up. I never had that gasket in there when I welded this wastegate pipe on. And I'm worried that that little bit of gasket is going to throw this off. Yo, good morning once again. In the midst of reassembling all of this, the local truck and tractor pulls was going on, and I wasn't going to miss it. So I went and did that. However, also, when installing all this stuff, remember when I was talking about the exhaust wastegate and that little bellow thing, and I said, so I wanted to use this to give it a little bit of flex, that way while I install this with the V-bands, it can pull or whatever, move a little bit. Well, this does not line up. There's a gap here, and there's no way I'm going to be able to pull this pipe into the wastegate with that V-band clamp. The reason there's this big gap here is because when I installed all of this on the floor, or assembled all this on the floor, I did not put the gaskets in anything. Those gaskets are fairly thick, and that's why it doesn't fit up. So what that means is I'm going to have to pull all of this back out again for the 15th time, assemble it on the floor, cut that wastegate exhaust pipe, put this bellow in like I should have done in the damn first place, and then we can start all over again, reassembling everything. While I'm doing that, my oil pressure line is too short, and I have a longer one. It's actually too long, but I'm going to put that on. Yeah. I'm going to try to speedball through this because it is Sunday, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So we can get back to where we were yesterday. I wanted to have this done yesterday, and it didn't happen. So I'm going to throw a time lapse up, and whenever the camera dies, I'm not going to manage the old camera thing. So once I'm done with all that, we can reassemble again and start where we left off yesterday. Got my bellow all welded in. Don't mind my terrible welds. It was slid down a little too far, so it was hitting the header. I had to make a little room there. No big deal. But as much as I did not like pulling all that out and redoing it, I'm glad I did that because it's going to be better. So I'm going to start by just getting all this put back in here for the 800th time. Keep moving forward. I think I got this to the point where I was at yesterday, and before I go tightening everything down, I just wanted to show you how well this lines up. Absolutely beautiful with that slinky dink thing in there. So I'm going to put that V-band on first, and then I'll tighten that one up. I got my oil line here. Like I said, it's pretty long. I just have it stuffed in here. Put that on there. That'll be good. I'm going to have to shorten my oil drain. It's too long. Put a fitting on here. Like I said, I will get a 90 degree, but for now this will be just fine. That'll get ran down to the wastegate there. And then I think we're able to fire this up. So again, I'm going to race through and get that stuff put all together. And then next time you see me, we should be able to get this thing fired. Well, it has been sometime later. One of those, you start something and then you realize you didn't do something, then you realize you didn't do something. Well, one of those things was the intake. Now the mass airflow I have after the turbo, which seems not right. However, when I had the little turbo, I did have this on the intake side, and it would die. Essentially, if you romped on it and let it off, it would just die. I ended up moving it to this side and it works great. So I put it back there. This used to have like 290s in it. It looks way better with this U. I'm happy with that. I forgot I had to put the O2 sensor in. While doing that, I completely cross-threaded and stripped the living shit out of it. Luckily, I had a Harbor Freight big tap and die set. It's an M18 by 1.5 tap. I had one. Got it tapped out, which is way up on this downpipe, you know, like this. Absolute nightmare. Finally got that situated. Then my wife comes out. Every time I try to start the stove, the breaker pops. It's a gas stove. Well, turns out she dumped, who God only knows how much chicken broth down the front of it and down the side of it. So I worked on that for the last hour and a half, getting it not to short out. Honestly, never actually did find out what was doing it. It just kind of fixed itself. I more or less opened everything up and wiggled some wires around, and I didn't find any wires that had chicken broth in them. I figured a connector was full of chicken broth, but I don't know. Anyway, back to this. Pretty much ready to start this up. I am going to like pre-lube the turbo. I don't know that you have to do this, but it makes me feel better just because I know there's nothing in here. So I'm going to take my little squirt can and just squirt some oil in here. And kind of spin this. I think to like break in a turbo, you're supposed to just let it run and idle for a little while, 5 minutes or something, just to get oil pressure in there. I think this will help. It's time. Ugh. What's the chances that it's dead? Spinning? No. Oh, there she went. It's not building any boost right now, so might have to take it out and drive it in order to build boost. Well, it seems to run all right. We're not building any boost, which is either A, we don't have a load to build boost, or B, the wastegate's stuck open. But the exhaust side of the wastegate isn't hot, so I wouldn't expect it to be stuck open or anything. So I think I need my wife's help to help me get the top off of this because it's not mounted in any sort of way. Take this thing out for a little cruise. It is 7:30. So maybe I'll get the top off of this and take it for a cruise tonight. Otherwise, we will do it tomorrow after work at 7:30. So I might as well just do it now. Well, we'll take this thing up and down the road real quick, see if we build boost. See if it'll start. I don't know how much fuel's in this thing either. doesn't seem to be building any boost. Not building any boost at all. I'm pretty sure it's just dumping out the wastegate. I don't know, go this way I guess. It runs strong, don't get me wrong, it runs great. Kind of stinks. Smells like oil or something. Oh yeah, it's smoking up there. Probably take a look at that. Smoking really good actually. Better take a peek under the hood quick. You guys stay here. Looks like it's just that, geez. Looks like it's just the new heat wrap we put on the exhaust, so that's good. Nothing's burning up quite yet. Ooh, it does stink. Hey. This thing drives kind of dodgy. Don't like it. Well, that was downright uneventful and a little upsetting, to be honest. No boost. Probably the wastegate. Probably need a bigger spring. And it's smoking like crazy because of that heat wrap. So, not putting a different spring in it tonight because it is hot, hot, hot. So tomorrow night, pull the wastegate off, put a bigger spring in it, try again I guess. See you tomorrow. Good afternoon. I'm currently in the process of trying to get this wastegate out of here so I can get eyes on it and swap the spring out if need be. It's probably going to take me about 6 hours. Well, if I go the right way, actually it might only take 5. I don't know. I've been thinking about this today, and I wonder if the spring I put in is just way too light, and maybe the back pressure from the exhaust is pushing it open, plus the whatever boost is coming out of here. But we will find out once I get this out. It's going to be a while. Well, make some room here. Looking at it, first thing I thought of was, did I seriously forget to put that seat in there? But I didn't. It definitely was letting exhaust through because there's carbon built-up inside. This, I don't know what they're supposed to feel like, but it opens up fairly easy. So I'm going to tear this apart and play eeny, meeny, miny, mo to decide which one of these same springs I'm going to put back in. And hopefully fixes the issue. gonna go with this one. Feels a little bit lighter. All right, now where did I do with my tools? Okay, all back together with a bigger spring. Can't say it was the worst thing I've ever done, but it definitely was not pleasant. Let's see if we can make a little boost. Oh. Oh yeah, we're getting there now, boys. Okay, we made a couple pounds, so that's good. I am gonna move my wife's star, whatever, spaceship, and take this thing for a rip. Let's ride. Oops, I don't know what that was, but I ran something over. Oh yeah. 5 pounds. Perfect. Does not sound as cool as a small turbo, but it's still pretty good. First gear, nothing. Second gear, once it kicks in, right there. Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I know a small turbo is better for spool. It's almost like it's not even there. But I love that pull. Once it gets spooled up and it just starts pulling, I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, it's pretty good. Might have to run this over to Trav. Oh, you can hear the whistle a little bit. Oh, it's pretty good. We're back, baby. Oh, feels good. Downshift, get into that boost. This thing's awesome. The blow off. It doesn't have a blow off now, but whatever you want to call it. So much louder than the small turbo. Not as often, which kind of sucks, but it's still good. I'm almost out of fuel. I have to run her back home here real quick. Cute Volkswagen. This thing does not run very fast. Oh, so awesome. Oh, you can hustle now. It's good. You would never expect the noises this thing's making. That's the best part about the whole thing. And it's pink, so it looks stupid. I love it. Oh, a couple square bodies over there. Actually, no, there's not even square bodies. Those are all Dodges. This thing is sure dodgy. I might have a flat tire. I think maybe whatever I ran over popped my tire. I'm pretty sure I got a flat tire. Almost positive. Means we need to hurry. Oh yeah. Well, I made it back. In the midst of the drama, my camera turned off for some reason. However, I don't have a flat tire. Honestly, I don't even know what was going on. When I turned the corner, I swear I could hear something rubbing. Then I started smelling stuff. The road noise got louder. I have no idea. At one point, I looked out the window like this, and the back wheel was like wobbling. So then I was worried the back wheel was going to fall off. And of course, while that was going on, a biker's coming. That's the perfect time for something bad to happen. Luckily, nothing happened. The back wheel's on tight. I don't know. These tires are old, dry rotted. Who knows? But I'm definitely going to have to look into it and drive it and check it, obviously. Another day, another problem. But the Barbie Tracker's back with a bigger and better turb ski. I'm glad I went this route. I should have went this route in the first place. It's mounted better. It runs fantastic. The turbo lag kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie. First gear, you get no boost at all. Second, third, fourth, fifth, it's all in. And it sounds awesome. The blow-off, if you'd call it, is louder. It's like longer, if that's a thing. It's sweet. With a T3, maybe I could find one a little smaller and it would probably be easier to swap out. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm going to look around. I wouldn't mind going maybe a hair smaller to get into the boost a little sooner. Be kind of nice, but I'm happy with it. Took way longer than I expected, was a bigger pain in the ass than I expected, but it's here, and I think it was worth it. So that's it for this one. I apologize that I got no like driving footage. It is what it is when you got stuff going on. This video, normally I post on Tuesdays. It is Monday at 8 o'clock. I have no editing done. So, sorry if this does not come out tomorrow to the 30 of you that actually watch the channel. Regardless, I got editing to do, and catch you on the next one. If you like this content, subscribe.